Hi guys. So I thought I'd do a short video today to talk about the new moon in February, the beginning of February. Right now, today is Saturday, February 5th. And one thing I'm noticing is the last week and a half, and in particular the last week, for people has been so stressful and disturbing, and a lot of people haven't treated other people well. So we've all been very frazzled, and I'm not going to say all. It's not 100% because, of course, I'm just witnessing those that I'm interacting with, both physically or over the telephone or over the computer, and then reacting in a big way to the posts that I see on social media, which are people that are all over the United States. I think most of the people that I'm seeing in my feed are not in other countries, although there could be a few. But I think for the most part, I'm seeing people in the United States, and everybody I'm interacting with in person and then seeing online, I feel like probably a good at least 7 out of 10 people have had something very stressful happen in the last week and a half. So I just wanted to jump offer a few words. If it's helpful to somebody, great. If it's not, and you just don't like listening to unsolicited guidance, just move on. Anyway, so what's going on? The only thing that I can tell you conclusively is at the beginning of February there was a new moon. We had been, this is the age of Aquarius. There is a new energetic shift happening. So I've talked about that before. But what has just happened collectively, I think, is something that we need to be prepared for because of the new energies that have moved in to our world. And if you're not an energy person, you can just take it as there's just new conditions that we have to adapt to because we have some severe weather conditions, all over the globe that communities everywhere deal with. And then, of course, the pandemic. And then, of course, social discord. I think that third one there might have always existed since the beginning of societies and governing. So, but that's just always there in with the more intense natural disasters that are making everybody feel stressed out. So there's a shift going on energetically. Our reaction to stressful circumstances is that as human beings, we get frustrated, we get anxiety, some of us get depressed. Some of us get almost manic because we get super motivated to be the hero and we would just want to help, help, help. And, then if you're anything like me, you try to help, help, help. And then you get really burned out and then you have a breakdown and you're watching everybody else have a breakdown. There's so many variations of this that I've just witnessed in the last week and a half. And regardless of what it is, one thing that I feel like I keep bringing back to just letting everybody out there know, all of us are the same, okay? We're all connected. We're not going to get away from that, even if we don't really believe that. We all come from the same source and the same stuff. And there is a collective consciousness. There's an awareness. There is a collective that we're all attached to. And we know this because, of course, we just can't really exist comfortably without help from other people. We don't make our own clothes. Most of us don't grow our own food or, go out and hunt our own food. We don't build our own homes, etc., etc. So we really do need to depend on each other, and we are all connected, and we have to support each other. And so one thing that keeps happening when these energies come in and there's a big shift and people get really uncomfortable, or events come in that make people uncomfortable. Right now where I live, a lot of us are snowed in, or it's been so icy we can't even go onto the road comfortably to travel to get to places that we need to be. And then other parts of the United States or the world are experiencing also, extreme weather events that, are really inconvenient. So when this kind of thing happens to us, we get frazzled, and we cannot sort of avoid that, because when it's inconvenient and uncomfortable, most of us don't just go into hours of meditation where we can tune out of our daily lives. Most of us don't have time to do that, and most of us are not trained and disciplined to that level. That could be the ideal solution, but what the reality is, especially in America, is we get frazzled and we start to get into a bad mood, and we take it out on other people. And sometimes we do that in ways that doesn't even make sense. It's called misdirected anger, misdirected frustration. And sometimes when we do this, it really can mess up certain parts of our lives. We can, if you're at work and you're on the clock and you're getting paid to be in service to somebody, and you just go off on the person unexpectedly, that could be something that may, get you written up at your job, for example. Or, maybe you are the person who is receiving the service and you're paying for it. And, maybe it's like you went to your doctor and you thought that you were going to be rude to your doctor, and your doctor just said, I'm not going to take care of you anymore as a patient. So then therefore you don't have to pay for the services, but you also don't get to see that provider. Things of that sort, where we're very frustrated. We might make an off-putting comment, or maybe we just totally go off on somebody and realize later, oh boy, there are consequences. Now that's the point here of having this conversation, is the consequences right now seem like they're kind of rippling immediately, large, huge, and right out in the open. And I feel like that's a result of the energy that has shifted over the last couple of years. I feel like if there's anything sort of biblical about it, the veil of ignorance is coming down, and a lot of true colors have come out, and there's a lot of chaos and confusion, and there's a ton of reaction to that. So I feel like that's where we're at, coming into like the new age, or the shift in energies, the shift in collective consciousness. Right now we're so frazzled, and we're trying to figure out where we land, how we can together build a better reality where it's not so unbalanced and frustrating. And in America, there's a lot of misperceptions about where that frustration and where the unbalance actually is. We just keep pointing the finger at each other. And so when we do that right now, it's having really negative consequences. There's a lot of people in the United States that I've heard say that they just kind of expect a civil war to break out at any moment. They think we're in a cold war, a cold civil war. And I highly disagree with that, because the majority of people that I actually interact with, I don't feel like they want to kill me, or they want to kill anybody else, or they're on a side. I know a few people that I interact with probably do feel that way. It's sad to me, but I honestly just think there's a lot of hype, and we just want to blame each other for the discomfort. And I don't think it's each other that I know that it's not each other that we need to blame, because it is not our fault, and it's not the other person's fault. Things that happen in nature, we just all have to get together and support each other. What is our fault is that we point at each other, we're mad at each other, we're fighting with each other, we all think we're right, we're trying to convince each other of things that we don't even know about. And instead of just getting together and supporting one another and cooperating and making the world a better place, and that is literally all it would take to make the world a better place, is for us to stop fighting with each other, and realize, where the problems are coming from. It's either look in the mirror and we're all to blame, or none of us is to blame. And I do think that we all have to be accountable to the collective reality that we've contributed to. We have contributed to this. I work with the public a lot, and I see how people behave. People that, I would probably sit across from and have a conversation with and think, oh gosh, this person is so nice and good-hearted. And they would be the same, they would have the behavior of, coming into my place of work and just, going off on somebody or going off on me in that particular setting. So there's sort of a Jekyll and Hyde thing that I've seen happen with the public. And you know what, that makes me think I don't blame everybody for their depression, their anxiety, their stress, because it seems like we're not treating each other well. And it seems like every time we do that, it has a very drastic consequence. There are people leaving planet Earth by way of suicide, and young people, or people that you just wouldn't even think are unhappy, or you think they have it all. Why would they do that? That happens because we don't treat each other well. We don't take care of each other. So that's where I think sometimes we all need to look in the mirror, and we need to start there for sure. And then we need to understand what the true problems are in our society. And in order to do that, we have to look at our history. We have to look at statistics and facts. And it's easy to pinpoint where it starts and who it ends with. But it's not easy to get that lust and love for power and money to leave our society as a whole. And so once each individual decides that love of fellow man is more important than love of power and money, we will shift. But we're all going to feel depressed and stressed. So what's just happened with this sort of new moon and a lot of frustration coming in, unfortunately, has brought in a lot of people treating each other badly. And then even some of the good souls just not really being able to remain kind and gentle in the face of that, and reacting to it on that same level, and then getting sucked in. And so again, then human beings, we just tend to treat each other badly. At critical crisis moments, that's when we need to be most supportive to each other, especially going forward. So we're going to have to find a different way to grieve and cope with the stresses that are being thrown at us by so many forces that are beyond our control. We are not going to have our questions answered, and we're not going to know everything, and we're not going to be protected by other human beings. You can't blame other human beings, or you can't expect them to care for you. You can't expect them to have the answers for you. You can't expect them to believe just like you do and do everything that you say, because this is a problem that's bigger than us, and it's a problem that involves all of us. So the only place that we can start with a solution is within ourselves. Nobody's going to be able to tell you all the answers to all the questions that you want to know, because those are mystical answers. Those are answers that come from a place that is the collective of us all, but bigger than us individually. We're not going to understand Mother Nature, even the scientist that studies it, from the time that he can conceptualize scientific data and facts and analyze it and come up with research studies and hypothesis, and then test those and come up with results and conclusions. A person can do that their whole life, and they're not going to know all the answers to natural forces and even some of our biological forces of the human body. So the only real answer here is to support one another, to love one another, as has always been the command and suggestion, and bring ourselves into a better collective reality by not beating up on each other and trying to tear each other down when we don't feel good. So that's what I have to say for today on the topic of, coming into the month of February, just, completely frazzled and wondering what the heck is going on. And there's just a lot of people struggling and feeling the same way. If you do feel that way, it's fine. We're human and we are going through it together. If anybody's come at you very edgy and negative and bullying or whatever, just try not to react on that level. And if you did forgive yourself, forgive them, move on. Let's come together. Let's support one another. Let's create a better reality, because we really can do that. We just have to stop trying to blame other human beings for things that are not the fault of other human beings. Okay. Love you guys. I hope everybody is getting through it, hanging in, and Valentine's Day is coming, middle of the month, and it's a commercial holiday, but I just love it because there's a bunch of hearts. So I'm just going to say all of February, all of every month, all of every year, love, love. But let this February, it's been rough, but let it inspire you to love, because that's going to help. That's the only thing that's going to help. All right.